hello, Armoured Pants here, and I have another video for you on the Russian line. This is a Tier 4 TD, the SU-85B, and we have a complete guide for you. Now we're going to have a look at the tech spec, and as always in Blitz. But before we get into that, please, I would ask you to have a look at the video, the beginner's guide to tank destroyers that we have on channel here, and there's a link in the description. Because you have come up now from tiers 1, 2, 3, you're into tier 4, you're presented with the A20 or the 85B, but the 85B is completely different to anything you've ever played before. Tank destroyer gameplay is completely different to anything you've played before, so please have a look at that guide, otherwise you will find it very difficult to play well in this tank. So the tank itself, well, it has an 85mm gun. It has a huge gun for its tier. I'm going to use supercharge and refined gun on this to get the maximum muzzle velocity. That will take us up to 1,000, over 1,000 to 1.2 k meters per second muzzle velocity, which is really very good. You're going to have a choice of AP, APCR and HE rounds. Just to quickly recap on them, AP is your standard round, APCR is a premium round that has more penetration but does less damage, and HE round does the maximum damage but has very low penetration. But because you have an 85mm gun here, you will pen lots of things because it's a big gun, and watch out for me using HE within the game that you're going to see. The tank is quite quick. It does 38 kilometers in a straight line. However, its major disadvantage is that it has no armor whatsoever. You will be penned by everything. This is effectively an origami tank. It just may as well be made of paper. If there was a biblical slingshot thrower on the battlefield, he would pen you. It's really more a self-propelled gun than a tank, and it's really just a vehicle for getting a gun into action. So you will be penned by everything. It doesn't matter tier 3, tier 4, whatever. You're vulnerable to HE, so HE rounds are going to come flying at you, and they will do lots of damage. Massive alpha rolls will come in. So really, this tank is really a support vehicle. You need to support the other members of your team. If you've got heavy tanks, you can support them. You can either stay behind and snipe from distance or go with them. Use their armor to protect you. That's long range sniping. Or if there's a lot of light tanks in your team, let them go spot. You stay behind, stay well safe away from the enemy, and fire in and do some damage. And please, again, I can't emphasize this much enough, please look at the video that we have in the description, the link to Beginner's Guide to Tank Destroyers. This will really help you with this tank. So the tank itself is a decent tank because of the gun and because of its speed, but really it has no armor, and you really need to be aware of that. Now we're on Mirage, so let's take a look at the map tactics here too. Now, as I said, I'm a support vehicle. I see that my light and medium tanks are pushing on to the left, so I decide to go into a typical sniping position on this map, which is at the back of the map here on the rail. This gives me a good field of fire to the left, down to the seafront, and to the right into the sand dunes in the middle of the map. And this is a typical TD spot, and if my allies can go up and spot the enemy, I will remain unspotted and be able to use my big gun to put damage in. Now, nothing really happening yet because the my mediums and light tanks didn't really move very fast. They didn't go and spot, which, again, a reminder, if you're in a medium or light tank, please move at the beginning of the game and spot, because your heavy tanks and your big guns like me are the ones that are going to do the damage and maybe win the game for you. But if you leave them blind, they cannot help you. I'm not really sure what the Panzer 4D is doing there. He is maybe trying to push that train. Is he trying to fix it back on tracks? It's not going to work, my friend. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to put some damage into these guys here using the big gun that I have. So I'm waiting for targets. And really, with tank destroyers, it's also a game of patience. I mean, you know, now I have a shot, bam, and there you go, lovely big alpha roll. And this is the thing about the gun will do lots of damage and will pen almost everything with normal AP rounds. You'll also pen a lot of tanks, which are HE rounds, and APCR really you only need if you're up tiered, or maybe if you have a tank like a Matilda at an awkward angle. Again, I'm waiting for a target, fire again. I try to do some deflection shooting, but I actually miss. But then when you're firing over long distances like that, you are prone to miss, so you need to perfect your deflection shooting, which we discussed in the guide to the tank destroyers, and hopefully you will, if you have not watched that, you will watch it. Now, there's nothing happening where I am now, so I need to move if I'm going to influence the team. So I'm going to move up here, try to get some shots in. Now, my light and medium tanks have spotted this cruiser 4, so I'm going to wait, see if I can get a shot into him. He pops out, pops back in again, but again, patience. And this is the thing about tank destroyer play, you need to be patient. It is in many ways almost like Zen combat. You need to be very patient, pick your shots. You've got a very long reload, as you can see here, so therefore you need to make your shot count. So don't rush in and miss shots, make them count. Because if you miss, you've got a long reload, and effectively you're not influencing the game, you're inactive when you're reloading. I'm going to try the deflection shot on him. Nailed it this time, taking him out. Now I look behind, I'm looking at the minimap, and I see that there's a big number of reds coming up behind me, so I just run away. There's nothing wrong with running away, and this tank is fast, and use that speed. There's no need to be a dead hero, that's not going to help anybody. So I move on, and I get hit from behind. You can see that if I hadn't moved at that point, I'd probably be dead by now. But instead, I'm able to come up here and help my allies. I'm able to clear that Panzer 4D, which has a big gun. It's great to get that cleared. Now I see my compatriot, and now I switch to HE, and watch what happens in this HE. Big alpha roll goes straight through him. HE rounds will pen you, but also be aware that you can do the same thing to the reds. Now, I'm in cover while I'm reloading. This is not the optimal position for a tank destroyer, I have to say. I'm kind of spotted up, but I'm using the rocks to give me some cover while I reload. Now what's happening now is that the reds have spotted me. They now have a big gun, they're going to try to take me out, which is clever play from them. They're going to try to mob me. The A20 and the Panzer 4D both come for me, but I'm trying to use the hill now, the natural inclines of the hill, as sort of some cover for me. I'm reloaded now, so I'm coming back in to engage the enemy. I'm going to put one into the Panzer 4D. He's slightly distracted, try to get back over the hill, but he catches me. I've also blown on my kit, so I don't have a repair kit. Go back over. Now what I do here is I put a round into him. I know he's reloading, so I use the speed of the tank to get past him, make him fluff the shot, and then he's mine because I have a faster reload than him. I just take careful aim, but I blow it. The tank has poor gun elevation, and you saw that there, so that made me miss the shot there. If I was in something with better gun elevation, I would have been able to take him, so instead of taking him out there, I actually wasted another shot, a valuable shot that could have helped my allies. For example, it could have saved that guy just killed by the A20. So bit of sloppy play from me there, wasn't thinking about the gun elevation and missed my shot. Now we have a Matilda here with good health. I know that my gun is the most likely one to pen him, so I'm going to try to help my allies and engage. Use my engine accelerator to get over. Now, I had hoped here that my allies would help me out and push onto him, but they are not really doing that, and they're kind of leaving me here isolated. If they were more experienced players or better team players, they would all push on and we'd mob him, and that would give us the best chance to win it. But as it is, with them not attacking him, they're leaving him the option to push onto me. I have no armour. He's going to pen me with every shot, and he has a great rate of fire. So this is really gonna hurt me. And the Matilda here is very clever, by the way. He decides to focus fire on me because I'm the biggest gun, the one that can do him the most damage. So he decides to focus fire on me to try and take me out. Now, my allies do come to help me, but a little bit too late. The fact that I was left on my own there with him enabled him to take me out. Plus, I fluffed the shot coming over the hill. Again, the tank has terrible gun handling, and it has terrible elevation and depression. So I missed that shot. If I'd scored on that shot, I would have taken him out. And I actually thought here, this was very clever play from Matilda. He took me out. I was the biggest danger to him. Good, clever play from him in a Kolovanov situation. And you can see here that my allies are having a lot of problems trying to pen him, and I actually thought we might lose the game, but in the end they actually did manage to take him out. But for a few seconds there I thought we were going to actually lose that game. Now you can see I got a mastery badge in that game. I did almost 1.6k damage, and more or less carried the game for the team as well. Did 4 kills. You can see I did 1,000 damage more than the next on my team. Interesting thing for you to note here is that you can get mastery badges even when you get killed. You can also get them when you draw or lose a match. It's really about your XP. I wouldn't say that was a perfect game. It was a decent game, but I fluffed a few shots, mainly down to some sloppy play, but also the dynamics of the tank. But I think it's very illustrative of how to play this tank. Take up your classical tank destroyer positions at the back to snipe. Move when you have to move. Use the speed of the tank to make the enemy fluff their shots and get around the map. Go help your allies and support them. Sometimes it doesn't really work out and they don't support you. But you know, try to keep the basics, and the tank will then perform for you. And as I said, it is a real support vehicle. You know, you cannot go off on your own with this thing. It really has no armor. Everything will pen you, and also your shell magnet, because everybody knows that their rounds are going to go through you. And guys with big guns are going to try to use HE because they know they're going to get massive alpha rolls on you. So you really need to be aware of that. Do not expose yourself unnecessarily. But you have a big gun, and you can do lots of damage, but make sure your shots count because you have a slow reload. So if you miss a shot, you're effectively inactive for the next 8 to 10 seconds. Aiming is maiming, and this is especially true in this tank because you've got 0 armor. You need to make those shots count. The tank is very fast. Use that speed to get into position, make the map yours, and you can also run away as I did in that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nobody needs a dead hero. Better off to be an alive coward and to help your team. The next up is the SU-85, but please take your time getting there because you really need to perfect your skills in this very different tank type, this tank destroyer. Again, watch the video on the beginner's guide to tank destroyers if you haven't. And please play a lot of games in this tank. Make sure you're familiar with playing a TD before you move on. Thanks for watching. Cheers, Mush. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye now.